jar with cotton balls and a lima bean in it, okay? So what you have to do is that we're gonna make from this lima bean seed, whatever bean, we're gonna make a plant out of it. How are we gonna do it? This is gonna be like an experiment. So what you're going to do is you need to sort of wet your cotton balls. You don't want them to be soaking, but you want them to be wet enough. So Miss Tara's gonna put a little bit of water. And so what you want to do is then put your cotton balls against the jar and wedge your lima bean against the wall of the jar. And then you watch what will happen is it'll turn into a lima bean plant. So you'll start to see little roots and a little stem type of thing. And you created your own plant from the lima bean. So that's exciting. But make sure you put it near a sunny window and keep the cotton balls moist. And I'd love to know what happens with your lima bean. Great.
Very interesting. So another kind of plant that we're going to try out is bulb plants. And gladiolas are a very common bulb plant. They have all of their nutrients here in this little bulb, actually. And there's a bottom and a top. The bottom has, you can see the dried roots where they dug it up and put it in the bag for you. And they get planted into the ground, and they will generally come back every year. But they little tiny bulb, and then it will turn into beautiful tall flowers. There are all kinds of bulbs. There's giant bulbs. There's even smaller bulbs than these. These are a summering bulb, right? The most common bulb that we're familiar with is the spring blooming bulbs. They get planted in the fall, and then they'll bloom into flowers during the spring. And they come back, generally they come back every year. Daffodils and things like that.
I've been watching my tulips come up.
Yeah?
That has been so nice. I planted them a while ago, and every spring my tulips come up for a bit. So there's a direction that you have to put the bulbs in when you put them in the soil?
Yes, you put the soil, when you put them in, you make sure that the root part is it's facing down, and this little top, or the stem top, where the stem is going to grow up, that is facing up. So that's how you would plant it.
And you have to keep it wet? You have to water?
Well, you water it a little bit. They don't like to get too wet, because then they will actually rot if they get too wet. But if you're planting them outside and you have rain, then that should be fine. If it gets very dry, then you might want to water them. But in general, they'll be good with the climate, the environment that they're planted in. They're good for our environment right here.
Okay, great. That was very informative. I love it. So we covered a lot. We covered the parts of the plant. We did the bean experiment. We talked about bulbs. And now we're just going to talk a little bit about inside. Your grab and go is the bulb, so you're going to plant that. And those can be planted now because it's warm enough to plant now, and then hopefully during the summer it will flower. But not all bulbs flower. Like the first season, it may take a year for it to flower. Is that right, Tara?
Some of them, yes, they have different growing requirements. So make sure you read the directions. If you buy a bag of bulbs at the store, then there's instructions on how to space them, how deep to plant them, and how when they will grow.
So your caregiver has a job to do to make sure your bulbs will grow. All right. Also, in your grab and go, so much stuff is in it. Is sunflowers. Sunflowers are one of my. So we talked about bulbs and roots. is one of my favorite flowers because they grow so tall. So you have sunflower seeds in your grab and go also. And I'm going to read a book called This is the Sunflower by Lola M. Schaefer. It's a windy day here today in the neighborhood. This is the sunflower, tall and bright, that stands in my garden day and night. This is the blossom, yellow and round, that crowns the sunflower, tall and bright, that stands in my garden day and night. These are the seeds, black and brown, found in the blossom, yellow and round, that crowns the sunflower, tall and bright, that stands in my garden day and night. Ooh, these are the beaks, sharp and strong, that crack the seeds, black and brown, found in the blossom, yellow and round, that crowns the sunflower, tall and bright, that stands in my garden day and night. Look at all those birds going for the seeds in the sunflower. And we talked about that birds carry the seeds to different places. These are the birds full of song that use their beaks, sharp and strong, to crack the seeds, black and brown, found in the blossom, yellow and round, that crowns the sunflower, tall and bright, that stands in my garden day and night. Here are a few seeds scattered around, spilled by the birds, full of song, that use their beaks, sharp and strong, to crack the seeds, black and brown, found in the blossom, yellow and round, that crowns the sunflower, tall and bright, that stands in my garden day and night. Now the sun warms the moist ground that covers the seeds scattered around, spilled by the birds, full of song, that use their beaks, sharp and strong, to crack the seeds, black and brown, found in the blossom, yellow and round, that crowns the sunflower, tall and bright, that stands in my garden day and night. These are the sprouts, rich with life, that grow and grow until a patch of sunflowers, tall and bright, stands in my garden day and night. Terrific. So we saw how the birds took the seeds and they carried them and they dropped them and more sunflowers were growing. That's terrific. So you have your sunflowers again. You put them in the soil and it'll have, you need to space them because they grow so tall, and you'll need to water them and they need sun also.
Very good. Very nice.
So,
yes, there's kind of different sunflowers. There's a very tall one, and there's also shorter ones too. There's a whole lot of varieties. So take a look and see if you can plant different kinds of sunflowers.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. All right. All right, great. We had a great time today.
We sure did.
And we'll see you next week. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay tuned.